Reverend Gregory Seltz, take one.
Good morning, Greg.
Good morning.
So tell me, and we've done this with everybody, who you are, what you do, and really about your background.
I'm the Reverend Gregory Seltz. I'm the speaker of the Lutheran Hour, and I get to be a part of the pedal pushers and be a part of the float that we do every year. It's part of our ministry to get the good news of the gospel out, even in the parade here in Pasadena.
How long have you been doing the float or coming out here to Pasadena?
Well, I don't always do it every year, but I've done it twice. This is my second time here, and when I travel around the church and I talk to people, I talk to pedal pushers all year round. So it's for me, it's kind of an all year round thing that I've gotten a chance to do specifically twice.
Are the pedal pushers part of in our ministries, or are they a separate ministry or a separate organization?
Well, the float actually functions on its own in a lot of ways. It's obviously in partnership with Lutheran Hour Ministries. The pedal pushers is something that I think has been created out here, right? I mean, it's been something that Dick and the organization, the LLL out here, has created. So these are volunteers from all over the place. So we don't actually organize that back in St. Louis. They do all that out here.
Can you explain a little bit the importance of this year's float? The 100th?
Oh, yeah. My goodness, this is the 500th year of the Reformation. When I think about what Martin Luther actually did, he risked his life to make sure that people knew how much they were loved by God in Jesus Christ. And we're celebrating that 500th year, and that 500th year actually that he brought dignity back to not only Germany but to Europe. It literally changed the world. And we're also celebrating the 100th year of the Lutheran Laymen's League, whose sole goal was to make sure that that message of the gospel of Jesus Christ continued to be proclaimed in America. They actually helped the LCMS do that as they brought it back from bankruptcy at one point. And then they started this thing called the Lutheran Hour, a radio program that actually has been sharing the gospel since 1930 and beyond.
Explain the importance of this float. Not only just
you know, what I love about the float, the importance of the float is this. We're the only Christian float in the parade. And I don't know how they got this float in the parade originally, but those guys had to be so incredibly ingenious, risk takers. But the whole goal was this was a national venue to proclaim the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. It obviously doesn't do the work of sharing it personally, but it says, hey, this message is out here, it's here for you, it's in the places where you're celebrating. And so this float every year is a reminder that there's something even more important than all the other stuff you see. The football games, the other floats, all the technology, there's a message that still makes life worth living. And we're proud that this float is part of that parade every year.
You told me a little bit before while we were talking before the end, just about your experience with people as it relates to the float.
Well, first of all, what I love about this float is the dedication of the volunteers. That's the first thing. All the people that come and do all this work. I can't even tell you how many roses and flowers and seeds are on our float, and they do 8 or 9 others, as well. So the volunteers are incredible, and they do it out of a commitment to the gospel. They don't just do it for something to do. That's the first thing. But what's amazing to me is I've been on that float, and to see it I say it this way, drag down Colorado Avenue. You're dragging the gospel of Jesus down Colorado Avenue. And to watch the crowd respond. I was kind of thinking the crowd would be a little bit like, what's that doing in our parade? I was amazed. The first time I rode in this parade, we sang I Can Only Imagine. That was a song that was playing. And we had people all along the parade route who were responding, singing, praying, thanking us for being there. I was overwhelmed. I thought, man, all we did was drag John 3:16 down the middle of Colorado Avenue, and they responded with joy, with singing, it was amazing. And so to me is what the essence of that float is all about.
Now this isn't exactly a question, but I want you to maybe respond to it. One of the things that Cindy and I noticed when we're talking about the volunteers is how they're working on the other floats,
right,
and how they're sharing the gospel side by side,
right,
which again, this float carries on to more than just this one?
Well, it's amazing how, and again, like I said, I don't know how the LLL did all this, but one of the ways that they pay for our float is by servicing other floats. So what a great thing to make sure that we could afford to do all this and continue that. But then what happens is our volunteers are put on all these other floats, and that natural connection to other people. What are you doing here? Who are you? Why are you here? They're here because they're committed to the gospel. They're committed to be a servant. They're committed to actually doing excellent work. Well, that starts to translate into witnessing opportunities where they get to share their faith person by person, day by day. And I know that there are all kinds of stories of faith that's been shared just because they've been working side by side with people who they love.
Yeah, somebody told me yesterday that they were working next to their arcade.
Yeah.
So
You're rubbing shoulders, and you don't even know who's coming. In fact, like I said, what amazes me is when I start actually asking people. I met some people from New Jersey. I met some people from Atlanta, Georgia. I met some people, obviously, from California. I meet people from Iowa, from all over the place, Minnesota, and you start saying, why did you come here? Now, a lot of them come because it's a bucket list. But they're also here because they know the faith of what it took to make this happen. And they want to be a part of that, and they get caught up in that, and sharing the faith. And even as we share the faith on our service on Sunday, you have people just coming in to see the floats who hear something about the gospel of Jesus. What's that doing here? Well, it's here for you.
Any other things that you think are important?
Well, I can't believe Jesus rose from the dead this early in the morning. Why do we have to be here at 5:15? That's what I want to know. I guess resurrection has to always come early. No, to me, just the amazing thing of the creativity when you start to see all the companies that are represented here. In fact, just what it takes to put this kind of thing on, and then to realize that the message of the gospel is even more powerful than all of that. I'm overwhelmed by it. And so we just do our little part. We just plug in our flowers and we just share the faith, and great things happen. But you're amazed at the blessings that God actually gives His creation when you walk around these places and you see all these floats. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I think that's all I've got.
Real quick, again, you touched on this, the idea of all the volunteers.
Okay.
How can we thank them?
Well, how can we thank the volunteers?
We had to say thanks to everybody who comes out.
Well, I mean, I can't believe they do it. I mean, first of all, the commitment that's involved, I can't say thanks enough for people wanting to do this and then being a part of this. But the reality is, I think there's a joy in this experience that's also part of that thanks. And I don't want to diminish that. Just coming here, you're going to receive some things that you could not have received if you didn't do it. And there's going to be thanks involved in that. You're going to feel that joy. You're going to feel that Thanksgiving. Now, from Lutheran Hour's point of view, we can't thank you enough. And from the LLL's point of view, we can't thank you enough because you helped make all this happen. Without you, it couldn't happen. But there's also a part of this that you will be blessed just by participating. And I pray that that's part of the Thanksgiving too.
And then one last thing. Where are you going to be riding on the float?
Yvette and I are going to be riding to the right of Jesus, which I guess is a good place to stand, to sit. We wanted, not the left, I said. Do not put me on the left. So we're going to be up in the front, and we're going to be riding with Jesus. Jesus is going to be the star of the float. There's no doubt about that. But I'm happy to be at his right-hand side. What did Peter say, on the right or the left? I'm just happy to be sitting close by. So we'll be kind of, as we turn the corner, we'll be waving first.
One more, too.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the outfit. In fact, we'll just kind of cut the Layman's, the chapter out here has an outfit here.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just bring a couple thoughts on that.
Well, one of the other things that they do with the float is there's an outreach booth here, and even tomorrow when the floats are gathered, there are people who are kind of walking around the float and sharing their faith with those who are gathering. So this is more than just putting a float in the parade. There are people actually strategically positioned all around to actually say, oh, what do you think about the float? And then there's an opportunity to share their faith with one another. So again, this is an incredible blessing to our church. It still gives a national context to our sharing of the faith, but they do it individually here all around the float, all around the building of the floats. There are always people positioned to share the gospel of Jesus.